Jimmy Kimmel, you're fired. Whoopi Goldberg, The View. I would say that you're probably next. To every Democratic influencer like Harry Sisson and Aaron Parnas.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
So it seems like free speech is a thing of the past. Jimmy Kimmel was just fired and let go indefinitely by ABC.
ABC just indefinitely pulled Jimmy Kimmel's show off the air.
Jimmy Kimmel's show has just been pulled by ABC indefinitely over comments he made about Charlie Kirk.
We have some huge breaking news. Donald Trump just got a major comedian canceled in America.
ABC has suspended Jimmy Kimmel's long-running late-night show indefinitely after an angry response to comments he made about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
And in between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
So it seems like free speech is a thing of the past. Jimmy Kimmel was just fired and let go indefinitely by ABC for apparently the remarks he made about the Charlie Kirk death last week. You may be asking yourself, what could he have said that's so bad?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
We are witnessing the policing of everyday actions in this country. It's been happening way before this Charlie Kirk shooting happened. This government has been moving towards a totalitarianism fascist state where Donald Trump has broken every law since he got into office. The law doesn't matter. The Constitution doesn't matter. Things don't matter. But this seems to have been the foot on the gas, or like the gasoline to throw in the fire to push us into the next and final phase of us not being able to say what's on our minds, us not being able to question what's happening, and a comedian who late night TV talk show, all they do is make jokes about political things that are happening and what's happening in the country. And now he's fired for that. They're firing people from their nursing position, doctor position, accounting firms, all these things because people are sharing an opinion about a podcaster who wasn't a leader, wasn't voted for, wasn't revered by all. And we think this is okay. It's getting fucking scary. I feel like people are experiencing a mass religious psychosis, and it's starting to make me feel crazy because I'm like, maybe everyone's seeing something that I'm not seeing, and no one in my close life is saying, like, what? Maybe I'm the crazy one. Because what really is fucking going on? You know what I mean? What really is going on?
ABC just indefinitely pulled Jimmy Kimmel's show off the air, essentially at the request of Donald Trump over comments he made about Charlie Kirk. We are witnessing one of the most brazen attacks on free speech in modern American history. Shortly before ABC made their announcement, Nexstar Media, one of the largest US TV station owners, said it will also pull ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live after his remarks, putting out this statement calling his comments offensive and insensitive. insensitive. Nexstar is one of the largest affiliates of ABC, so it was a significant announcement. And as I said, this was essentially a request from Donald Trump, because earlier today, Trump's FCC chair, Brendan Carr, appeared on Benny Johnson's show and threatened to revoke ABC and Disney's broadcast licenses if they didn't take action against Kimmel. ABC bent the knee to Donald Trump again. And just minutes after Nexstar made their announcement, Brendan Carr put out a statement thanking them for doing the right thing. Listen, if Jimmy Kimmel made a factual error in what he was saying, then he should correct it, no problem. But taking him off the air indefinitely for making comments that the Trump admin doesn't like, that's insane. Comedians should be allowed to joke about politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. Joe Biden never tried to take any of these guys off the air because they said something about him. This is an attack on the First Amendment, and Republicans should be concerned because it
Jimmy Kimmel's show has just been pulled by ABC indefinitely over comments he made about Charlie Kirk. The announcement from ABC came today after a decision from Nexstar Media to basically cancel the Jimmy Kimmel show and not run any of their episodes starting with tonight's episode. They said that any of their owned and partnered television stations that are affiliated with ABC Television Network is going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. They went on to say that they strongly object to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the killing of Charlie Kirk and will replace the show with other programming in its ABC affiliated markets. Andrew Alford, who's the president of Nexstar, said Mr. Kimmel's comments about the death of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the local communities in which we are located. Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at the current time. And we have made the difficult decision to preempt his show in an effort to let cooler heads prevail as we move forward towards the resumption of respectful, constructive dialogue. This comes just 2 days after Jimmy Kimmel mentioned the Charlie Kirk shooting in his monologue. On Monday, September 15th, he directly addressed the Make America Great Again supporters, which is, of course, MAGA, saying, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang trying to characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them." Jimmy Kimmel is no stranger to political drama. He's been in a feud with President Trump forever, but this is now the second late night talk show to be canceled. Of course, we had the Stephen Colbert show canceled first, and Trump said Jimmy Kimmel was next, and it looks like that's just become a reality.
Okay, this one is heard. ABC has officially pulled Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely after his comments about Charlie Kirk. Yeah, you heard that right. One of late-night TV's biggest names is now sidelined, and the internet is buzzing with questions. Yeah. So was it too far? Was it just a joke? Or was this the network finally saying enough is enough? Tell me. Let's break down what happened, the backlash, and what this could mean for Jimmy Kimmel's future. Yeah, let's get into it.
We have some huge breaking news. Donald Trump just got a major comedian canceled in America because he didn't like his jokes about Trump and didn't like the fact that the comedian made a totally valid analysis of what Republicans were doing post Charlie Kirk's killing. Horrific. The head of the FCC, Donald Trump's guy, threatened ABC, the entire network, and Disney today and said he was going to take away their broadcast license unless they did something about comedian Jimmy Kimmel. ABC turned around and canceled the show. Oh, it's indefinitely off the air. They didn't cancel it. Same difference. They did it because Donald Trump threatened to take away their broadcast license. We don't do that in America. That is incredibly... And what Jimmy Kimmel said... Here's what he said that was the final straw that, oh my God, they all freaked out. Kimmel said, since the Charlie Kirk killing, which was horrific, Republicans, MAGA people, were trying to blame it on Democrats. They were trying to do everything they could to paint the killer as a Democrat. They were. That's true. That's it. What he said was true. What he said wasn't offensive. He didn't criticize Charlie Kirk at all, because people have been upset about that lately. He made a totally fair observation. That was enough to get him canceled. And again, Trump's chairman of the Federal Communications Commission told ABC today, I am going to take away your license unless you do, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The easy way, take him out. The hard way, we take out your license. So they took him out. This is the country we live in now. Media across the country is going to be terrified. Trump has sued them, gotten a number of them to cave. ABC, CBS, right? Now he's going after New York Times. Gotten a bunch of them to cave to Trump. They're going to be afraid to report on him. Companies are afraid to disagree with him. The own government officials are afraid to produce numbers about the economy that Trump doesn't like because he fires them. And now you've got even comedians and entire TV networks terrified of him so that they're going to cancel their shows because Donald Trump doesn't like what they say. This is so beyond dangerous, the situation we are in this country right now.
Jimmy Kimmel, you're fired. Whoopi Goldberg, The View. I would say that you're probably next. To every Democratic influencer like Harry Sisson and Aaron Parnas that continue to come on social media and just lie and spew lies about our president, Donald J. Trump. Everybody should be canceled as far as I'm concerned if you can't come up here and tell the truth. Because I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, it's finished. You're done. It's over. Anybody who comes out here and that would celebrate the death and the assassination of not only Charlie Kirk, but any other American that lives here in the United States of America, we're making a very clear message to all of you that freedom of speech is absolutely all yours, but it comes with consequences. If you are working for a major corporation, whether it's ABC, the Carolina Panthers, Office Depot, any of these credible brands, all they're saying is that we are not in line with the policies of the stuff that's coming out of your Mac and the rhetoric that you're pouring. But I gotta tell you, this is a great day for America. This is a win for MAGA Nation. This is another win for our president. Today's Jimmy Kimmel. Tomorrow it's The View. Next it's going to be anybody else that is going to continue spewing lies just to get eyeballs on your network. To Charlie Kirk's wife that has been left behind. To Charlie Kirk's children that will never ever again be able to hold their dad just for one more day. We are sending you so much love. And I just want to leave you a clear message that I too am Charlie Kirk.
This is such gaslighting. We went through how many days after we saw what was written on the bullets of them saying, no, don't believe what's on the bullet casings. He was a right winger. He came from a MAGA family and he was MAGA. But went from days of that. By the way, here's just one example. Jimmy Kimmel, this is him on Monday refusing to acknowledge that he was a left winger. Notwithstanding, but the fact that we already had this information from the Utah governor that he was indoctrinated into the left-wing ideology. We saw what he had written on the bullets. Just one example of one prominent media figure refusing to accept that. Here it is in SOT 9.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Okay, so it's the right wing who's in denial about this young man's affiliations. By the way, he was not a kid. He was 22 years old. We went through that. Then it was made perfectly clear over the past 2 days that this kid, to use Jimmy's word, has been completely indoctrinated into left-wing ideology. His parents said that. His parents said he had moved farther left politically. He had gotten very into the messaging of the left wing around gay rights and trans ideology. And then we see what was written on the bullet casings. And now the message is shifting from the left to, well, we still might not know his motivation, but really, who cares?
Way overdue, ABC and Disney. I guess a late thank you, but did you know that Jimmy Kimmel Live actually averaged 1.1 million viewers per episode as of August 2025, with a rating of, get this, 0.35%. The show has seen fluctuations in audience with a notable decrease of 11% per month. I mean, Doesn't this say enough? Why? Why wasn't he canceled before? Are they just using this as an excuse, or is it really a turning point for ABC and Disney where they have to bring back just a little common decency to its viewers? I'm just wondering. For me, anybody that sponsored Disney, ABC, or Jimmy Kimmel needs to be boycotted. At least I don't support them. Everything is money to the left and liberals. So stop buying products that sponsor hate, divisiveness, and encouraging young extremists. I said what I said. Bye-bye, Jimmy. Have a great one.
Don't give me that cancel culture stuff. Y'all been pushing for cancel culture for 100 years. And you violated the terms of your contract with your company, which means if you do things that are detrimental to the growth and success of your company, they can suspend you. They can expel you. They can fire you. The end. Roll the clip.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Guys, he's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible. And they came in, they said, Charlie Kirk is dead. I didn't know what they meant. I said, he was dead. Charlie Kirk was shot. And they thought he was dead because it was so horrific, And I said, dead.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces, you wouldn't believe. There's something wrong with them. There really is.
Now, how distasteful are you to think that this joke would land and it makes sense, unless you vehemently hate Charlie and you hate President Trump? These leftist nut jobs have no end to the disrespect that they're willing to do. And that's why you lost your job. That's why you lost your job. To say that Donald Trump didn't care about Charlie is ridiculous. You see all the outpouring. First of all, we came on the news and said it.
Hey, everybody. So I'm in a full face of makeup because I was supposed to go over and have a chat with my friend Jimmy Kimmel on his show. But as you have heard by now, the Jimmy Kimmel show has been pulled indefinitely, abruptly, because of complaints from the Trump administration. So let's see. He didn't end the Ukraine war or solve Gaza within his first week, but he did end freedom of speech within his first year. Hey, for those of you who pray, now's the time to do it. Love you, Jimmy.
So here is what went down. During his show, Jimmy Kimmel made comments about Charlie Kirk that a lot of people felt crossed the line. Yeah, now Kimmel is known for being sharp, sometimes edgy, and definitely political. But this time, ABC decided to step in. Reports are saying he's been pulled indefinitely, meaning no set date for when or even if he'll be back on the air. That's serious. Yeah, that's very serious. When a network takes you off like that, it usually means big pressure from sponsors, executives, or massive public backlash. Yeah, and the backlash, it came fast. On one side, Charlie Kirk's supporters are celebrating. They're like, finally, Kimmel is facing consequences for his disrespect. On the other side, Kimmel's fans are furious, saying this is censorship. That comedians should be able to joke about politics without being punished. This is what they are saying. Yeah, it's basically turned into another culture war battlefield. One clip, one joke, and now everybody is picking a side. This is insane. This is bigger than Jimmy Kimmel. This is about the role of comedy in politics today. Yeah, for decades, late night hosts have made fun of politicians, Republicans, Democrats, everybody. I mean, everybody. But now in 2025, the lines are so broad. What a joke to some feels like a personal attack to others. And networks are terrified of losing ad money or viewers. That's why ABC made such a drastic move. They don't want to get banned in the middle of this storm. Yeah. Think about it. If a late night host quickly, what does that mean for other comedians, podcasters, or creators who talk about politics? What does that mean? We are entering a moment where networks are more worried about controversy than creativity. Yeah, this is the world we are entering in. And that raises a huge question. Is comedy still free to push boundaries, or has it been put on a leash? And remember, Jimmy Kimmel isn't just some random host. He's one of the biggest names in late night. Yeah, if they can sideline him, they can sideline anybody. Yeah, anybody. So yeah, ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely after his cherry Kirk comment, and the internet is divided. The internet is divided. Some say he crossed the line. Others say this is censorship gone too far. But I want to hear from you. I really, really want to hear what you think. Do you think ABC made the right call, or was this an overreaction? Should comedians have more freedom, or do they need to watch what they say in 2025? Let's discuss. Drop your thoughts in the comment. I will be checking them out. And also don't forget to like if you enjoy this breakdown, subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and share this video for more people can join the conversation. This story is just getting started, so stay tuned. Catch you next time. Bye.